welcome to Moving Forward with Dr. Mom. I think it's kind of late. I don't know. Let's see. 5:43 my time. It's late. Well, I guess it's not too bad from what I usually get on, but I don't know. It's just, I feel like this weekend flew by. I mean, like really, really fast. And I've been pretty busy doing flooring and oh my goodness, I forgot. I've got it before. Ugh, I have to get all my furniture moved out of the living room into the bedroom so that when my cabinets come tomorrow, I can move them into the living room. And they said that you need to have about the room of a car. So it's pretty much going to be my whole living room. It's exciting, but dang it, I forgot about that. I just had to run to the store, and I went to the gym today and had to food prep, and I still have a few things to cut around some areas for the flooring, but all in all, the majority is done. I might have to do a little repairs here and there, but that's okay. I will get that done. So this is number 98. Gosh, where is time gone? I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I mean, it was just, I remember just going into it thinking, I don't know what all I'm going to talk about. And I'm still learning what I'm going to talk about, but it takes a while, like to get your groove on what your message is going to be. Like I kind of understand, but oh my gosh, I just can't. The stuff I'm learning right now is amazing, and it just keeps opening up more places in my brain that keep firing on all cylinders, and it's just amazing, the new concepts I'm learning. I'm a little bit today. I was going to see if you could see my cute little thing in the background. I don't know if that's a good angle, but I like it. We do not remember the days, we remember the memories, right? Moments. Okay, so I'll let you see the little design. I love it. It was centered, but I had something over on that other side. And I love my office now. I rearranged everything, and Kitty's really liking it. But the flooring is just, I just love carpet for me. I've got all of the spikes out finally. That was a freaking battle. Don't put carpet in, especially if you have animals. I'll never have carpet again. I just don't see that happening for me. Anyway, I didn't have time to really change or anything, so I'm in my workout clothes still. And I don't like wearing makeup on the weekend, so. Hey, Lisa, gosh, I have missed you. Yeah, thank you. She says that flooring looks amazing. I'm telling you what, I love it. I just love the colors. It's sort of a rustic kind of color, but yet modern, if I can say that. I don't know. But it's just got so many really cool shades in it. Oh yeah, man, how have you been? I see you kind of here and there, but haven't been able to talk to you too much. So I'm almost done with my 100 videos, Lisa. I'm at 98. That's amazing. And then I'm gonna move into another area, going in that direction. I was gonna post on, our alumni group for Unstoppable Influencers because I'm doing super well. What a life-changing process it's been for me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I put notice in at my work, so I'm going to be done with that. I'm going to go into motivational speaking full time, and I just love it. Like I found my place. So awesome. So I love seeing you on here, and I still kind of follow the Unstoppable Influencers. I've just been so busy. I may end up moving to just to get out of the snow, when I go mobile. Yeah, man, it's just awesome, right? Well, and that all started from Code Red. Code Red changed my life profoundly. And then from Code Red, I found out about Unstoppable Influencers, and that changed my life even more. So it's just I can't even say what a spiritual experience it's been, but it's been amazing. Amazing, amazing. And I am going to thank them all. I'm trying to find my place as far as getting established, and I'm getting a website set up and all those things, and learning about social media. And wow, that was your oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing, huh? They're just the best. And I think I love the fact that they're both women entrepreneurs. I just love that. It makes me so proud of them. And dynamic people. It's just amazing. Amazing that we have the opportunity, isn't it? So amazing. And I don't know if you saw, but I'm doing some bodybuilding. I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition, so I'm right now as well. So that's one of my big goals. It's pretty scary and very exciting. You're never too old. Never too old. So, gosh, I've had a really awesome year. Really awesome. So, I'm going to move into my study today. I wanted to talk about a movie I've been watching, and I think it's just over this last couple days that I've been. It's called The Great Escapist, and I find it really very entertaining. So it's about two men, and one of them's English and one of them's American, and that makes it funny already, right? But they end up getting in a boat wreck, and I can't remember if their ship capsized. I can't remember where it was at, but it's on a tropical island. So long story short, they end up in a tropical island on one. And so over time, they realize they have to survive. And so luckily some of their ship eventually ends up on the island. They end up getting things washed up on the island from other freighters, like these big, I'm going to say railroad cars washed up. And so there's a few things in it, not a lot. But they end up, the reason I like it is because both of them have specialties in inventing things. And some of it's scientific, some of it's, do you want to say mechanical? But it's so good. And their humor is really fun. So it starts out where they just start building shelter. And they build this really cool place. I mean, it's not just a little bit of like a teepee like shelter and enough to keep it out. They build this really cool, and it's all from things that are on the island, right? And then pretty soon they end up building, let's see, I wanted to, so I'd remember some of the things that I thought was pretty fun. So some of the things that they did is they ended up figuring out how to generate power. And they used they had this fresh water stream running through there. Luckily, I don't know how that came about, but so they made power with water, nails, and yucca plants and wire. They had some wire, I guess, from the ship or something. And so they were able to generate enough power to charge their cell phone. One of them had one cell phone and it was out. So they charged the cell phone. So It's so funny. So the one guy, I guess he wrote several books, you know, when he was in his life or whatever. So he ends up filming on his camera, kind of like we're doing now, you're 100, but where he films different parts of what they're doing on the island. So they end up making later on they end up making a lighthouse, so they were able to get lights from this new power that they generated. Another thing they did is they've had some engines they got from the boat, and they were able to make one, two cars. These pretty they I don't know if you remember the Flintstones, but the Flintstones it looks a little bit like those cars. So they made cars and they actually work. So they have this big race, and then the house that they made is pretty luxurious, right? It's pretty awesome. And then I don't know, it's just pretty fun. The one guy makes a security system that is like a net that's hidden under the sand, and when someone goes, because the other guy was afraid that there was people on the island, so when you step in it pulls you up, and then it also turns on this big alarm system that he built from like how World War II I think had an alarm. It's really cool. And then they go on to build sort of raft, and they make it out of two bicycles they found. And trying to think, oh, the one guy has this beach ball that he calls, gosh, what's he call him? You know how like Tom Hanks had that show where he had a beach ball he always talked to? So anyway, that's where, oh, I know the last thing the one guy did is he made, let's see, he made glass. He was able to make glass out of sand. And they go through the whole scientific part of it. So it's a good, fun show. He ends up making explosives as well. And so left off is it was the 4th of July, and the one guy had rigged together a bunch of fireworks. It's if you get a chance, it's a really cute, fun show that you also learn about science and invention, just how they made wheels out of different things, and it's good. So I thought that was kind of a fun. I like shows that you learn something from, but you also have fun watching, you know. The next thing I wanted to talk about, this is what I've been into lately, and it's just super inspiring. Is a YouTube. I've been watching. His name is Dr. Andrew Huberman, and let's see, he is a neuros. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I had it written down. Neurologist, I think. Let me see if I can find out what he is exactly. Gosh. Well, anyway, neuroscientist, I think. So he studies, let's see, he studies the brain and I think the traits of the brain. Geez, why am I not finding? I wrote it down. Like I have to write everything down or I won't remember it unless I hear it like a million times. And I've been watching him for 2 or 3 this whole weekend. Let's see, let me see where I wrote it down somewhere. Gosh, where did I put it? Anyway, I think he studies the brain and the spinal system, the spinal cord, and how the nervous system works, right? So he's from Stanford, and he has a lab there, and they're doing all kinds of studies on, you know, just different things. Yeah, okay, so it was with, oh gosh, I got it all, sorry, I had it in order and then I mixed it up, so I don't know what I was doing. Let's see. I don't know what I did with it today. Jeez. Anyway, there's two guys. I'm trying to find out where. I follow both of them, and I really like them. Gosh, what did I do? I was sure that I wrote it down somewhere. This other guy I really like a lot. And I watched him, I think I got him from Lewis Howes, which I watch him all the time. I don't know where I put it. Maybe this is it. Oh, here we are. Ed Mylett. Ed Mylett's the other one. So he had, and his show, I've been watching a lot of YouTube. My brain is just fire and I love it. Ed Mylett, and his show is Max Out. I really like him too because he's a bodybuilder and he has a lot of information on there. Hey Marlene, having family home evening, just called to say I love you guys and have a good evening. I'll listen. Okay. All right, Marlene, thanks for checking in. Love you, girl. Have a great family evening. That is so cool. I just love the fact you do that. So cool. Okay, we're on 98, so 2 more to go. 2 more. Did you see the Valentine's special I did for you? It wasn't intense. I was pretty burnt out from the day, I'll have to be honest. I think I got 10,000 steps in just from yesterday, just from doing planking in my flooring. It was crazy. Okay, so anyway, Dr. Andrew Huberman, which I wouldn't mind if he wants to be my boyfriend too, by the way. Ooh, so intelligent. I love and listening to his backstory is amazing. It's just amazing, but what he's doing now is exceptional. So he's really making it easier for people to understand, neurology. He is a neurologist. That's it. And so he works on the nervous system, and he's not a medical doctor. He's actually a research doctor, and he has a lab, and they're studying different things. But it's amazing, and it's taken me a while to get a total grasp on everything. But I absolutely love where he's going with it. So I'm going to keep watching it, and it has a lot to do with moving forward. It has a lot to do with what we're talking about, and just how you train and a growth mindset. We've talked about that before, and his colleague is a lady that actually came up with that concept. And what I thought was pretty exciting was she got it off of doing research. Her study was on kids that enjoyed doing math problems they couldn't solve. And I guess math and puzzle problems are things that they couldn't solve. And the enjoyment came from doing the actual math problems, not from reaching the end, because these math problems you couldn't solve. So what it all goes down to, and this is what I'm learning, it's so intelligent, so incredibly intelligent, is that the dopamine in your, when it's activated, gives you those feel good feelings, right? And how to tie the dopamine triggers to not to reaching the goal, but to reward yourself just for having the goal along the process, right? So to reach milestones and to celebrate even just the fact that you're starting a goal. So I think I've always been that way, but I never really realized it. So for me, even just putting my pre-workout pictures, even just doing the posing, right? This scares you to death. I mean, it's just you're so freaking vulnerable. But doing it gave me a feel good. Like I was so proud of myself for doing it. So doing it along the way, the final goal isn't the only outcome, but by rewarding yourself just for starting the goal, releases dopamine and then helps you keep moving forward. So this is what he's all about, and it's amazing. It's amazing some of the things he talked about, and this was on another, I didn't take as many notes, but about our vision and the senses that we have and how, so let's say, so in my office, right now I'm a senior accountant. I work in this small room and it doesn't have I don't have anything outside of it. So I don't have any vision to the outside. It's sort of inside. And how that kind of limits sort of how you're feeling or what your tasks are. It can even stress certain people out. But I'm probably massacring this, but the way to get de-stressed in a day, and how you're looking at your cell phones and things, those all add sort of the stress level. But to get de-stressed is to look out on a horizon, look farther out on the horizon, and he calls it panoramic view, which we know what that is. That instantly provides a stress relief for you, and it's all about the eyesight and the vision. I don't have enough on that, but I'm just simply amazed at the studies they're doing. It's amazing, and what the brain can do, what the brain can do to help you move forward is amazing. So I'm just going to touch on some of the things. So this is what he studies: vision and states of mind. And so they do experiments, I believe, rats and humans. And so it's all about the retina in the eye. Let's see. So, and a neuroscientist, which is what he is, they study the workings of the nervous system in the skull, spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system. So basically understanding the nervous system. I mean, who would have thought that all this positive information would come from that, right? But it's so cool. So memory, perception, and sleep, and how the nerve cells work to control the body. And yeah, he says in mice and humans, not rats. Mice and humans. So let's see, I'm trying to see. So that's the peripheral. So looking into long distance even through a window, just looking out at a plane or a long view, that's what helps you go into to de-stress, and it's a panoramic view. Let's see. He talks a lot about the different chemicals that the brain produces, but I can't. Like, I have to get better at him. I'm still trying to catch up to, he's incredible. But he really, if you have a chance, look him up, because he's amazing to listen to. Like, he's not like he translates very well, incredible, hard things that are hard to understand, the science of it all in our body, chemicals, translated into an easy way to understand it. It's amazing. And he basically, let's see, his dad was a scientist. He grew up in California. I guess his mom and dad divorced at a pretty young age. I think he was, if I can remember right, I think he was 8 or 9. I'm not sure. But his mom had a hard time of it. And so he basically went out on his own. I became a skateboarder, I think. I think he referred to himself as a feral child. So his mom was pretty inundated with the loss of going through divorce. And boy, if we understand anything, we understand the grief cycle, right? And the turmoil and divorce go through the same thing. And so, um, he just went into this other place, and ended up, he ended up hanging out with a bunch of guys that did a bunch of skateboarding. And so I don't think he did well in school for a while, but long story short, he comes back, ends up finishing high school, met some good mentors and went to college and becomes this neuroscientist. I mean, how amazing is that? It's an amazing story. So, oh my gosh, listen to it because he's wonderful to listen to. So let's see. When you set a goal and move towards it, so that's what I was talking about. That's pretty inspiring. That's when your dopamine kicks in, right? Um, and dopamine is famous for the role in rewarding, mating, nature's general reward system. That's what the dopamine is that kicks into your brain. Let's see. Serotonin, it looks like, helps you to relax and keeps you in the here and now. Let's see. I'm terrible at all this because he talks pretty fast. So to take notes, it's kind of hard, but and I'm the kind of learner that has to hear it and hear it. I don't instantly pick it up, but I have to hear it over and over again, which I'm going to keep doing. I mean, some of his work, which I thought was totally interesting, is how people that are addicted, have addictions to like alcohol or drugs, how a lot of the dopamine sort of contributes to that. And if they can learn to understand it more, how even they can maybe help. And the substance abuse, people that are addicted to certain substances. And so I'm real interested in it because my husband had a real hard time with that most of his life. And I always wanted to understand it, like I could never quite understand it. And I really like to. And, and the I, the ego, and the superego, and how, emotions are trapped, and all of those things we've been working on. This is a key to it. Understanding the chemicals of the brain and how you can rewire it and things like that. It's just so freaking interesting. So let's see. I'm trying to see if I can see some more notes that I took. So he's talking about taking control over sense of reward, and that's what I was saying. So high performers, people that perform well, reach their goals, always have more goals, are able to move forward. This is some of the abilities that they show. And so he has, and Goggins, Irene, was one of them that he had in his lab. I don't know if he was just talking to him or if he went through tests. I think he might have, because one of the tests that they do is they take these high performers, and Goggins is a very high performer, and they put them in environments where they're tested. So and they like to test them with what you're most afraid of. So Goggins is really afraid of the ocean, I believe, and sharks. So when they put him in there, Goggins was the first one to say, "Let me go first." And he said, "I'm going to tell you right now, I'm afraid of sharks." And so they put him in an environment. I don't know if it's just a simulated environment, but I think it might be, where your worst fear is in the middle of it, right? So I'm just guessing. I don't remember all of it, but they would put someone like Goggins in a simulated environment where there's sharks all the way around him. And I don't know, for me, it may be heights. So I always wanted to go skydiving just because it scares the bejeebers out of me. Scares me. Heights have always scared me. And I've learned to overcome it in certain ways, right? I don't know why heights do. I'm not real sure. But like when I when I was probably 9, my dad, we lived in California. We went up I think it's the backside of, I think it's called Idlewild. I think it's the back side of the Palm Springs tram, and it's these really winding curves, and it's really far down. And I'm sure my dad was driving fine, but I would hide under the dashboard, and I was petrified going up that. It scares me so bad. Heights always have, but man, when we sandblasted, like I got up, if as long as I did a little time, we used to sandblast these tanks that were 50 feet in the air. I was even hopping from one to the other by the time it was over. So over time, I've learned to overcome some of that. I don't like spiders much either. So, I don't know. They'd probably put you in a simulation where there's spiders crawling all over you. Oh, but I guess, it's a way to overcome it. It's all in a safe environment in a lab. Anyway, I'm going to get more into it and I'll keep talking about it because I think it's just so cool. So, they studied these high performers, right? And they figured out this is what they're doing correctly to stay high performers. People like Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan. Hey, Irene, nice to see you. I'm talking about my new boyfriend. Muy caliente. I've been studying him all weekend. He's so good and so intelligent. His studies are remarkable, just completely remarkable. So, powerful tools for high performers. So, we can use this to move forward, right? And his studies, man, we can use it in our challenge because it is remarkable. So, high performers have the ability to give themselves reward after small. Andrew, yes, indeed. Dr. Huberman. So they have the ability to reward themselves during milestones or small tasks. So, for instance, I was able to reward myself, and not with anything monetary, but after I wore my bikini in front of the world and did my post shots, my pre shots, that was a reward for me. Like that instantly shot dopamine out of my brain, and I instantly said, good job. Good job. And it also helped me to start to keep moving forward. So that's a milestone. That's a milestone for me. So so they're able to register that they're moving forward in the right direction after they do these small rewards, and they're rewarded for it in their mind. Then they're able to keep moving forward. Concrete tasks, that was concrete. I was able to say, woohoo, look what I did. It was a solid thing. And it's called the neurochemical effects in the brain. Just simply amazing. Simply amazing. Okay, so I'm trying to see. Let's see. And my notes aren't super good. Man, he talks really fast, so I was trying to take notes as fast as I could, but I had to really try and keep up. Let's see. Okay, he called dopamine, which is my new favorite word, dopamine. I like it. I knew about serotonin. And I think sometimes the serotonin, like for me, that's where if I over exercise, if I do like racquetball usually doesn't do it, but if I really do exercise, like sometimes CrossFit did it to me. It would cause me to have migraines, and I think it's an overproduction of serotonin, if I'm not mistaken. But I like dopamine word, so they call it the happiness drug. Let's see. Oh goodness. Trying to find. Okay, so I think he gave. Okay, so um, high performers, people that are able to keep moving forward to their goals, high performers, they're able to give themselves rewards over the milestones and just for starting the goal instead of waiting for the end of the goal. So they reward themselves along the way. And he likened it to an animal that, let's say, is walking out in wherever, could be the forest or wherever, and they automatically know that they need water. So they don't have to think about the fact that they need water, they just automatically know. And so they go and search for water, right? And they come to a stream, but they're actually searching for a lake. But the stream, so they are rewarded from just finding the water in the stream, but they know that they're going to keep moving on to the lake. So he kind of used that as an example. I'm sure he did a better job than me. But so it's kind of our way of saying, look, I'm going to start this goal and I'm going to get a reward when I start it. I'm going to get a reward when I reach a milestone in it. And I'm going to definitely get a reward for doing it. But I like the reward in between just for getting to my different places. Let's see. So he talked about adrenaline and epinephrine, and I didn't learn as much about that. Um, so he did talk about adrenaline and dopamine, how if you have too much, it can actually trigger um, a negative effect. And I think I have to wonder if that doesn't have something to do with abusing alcohol and drugs. Does your dopamine get, because I know just from when my husband was going through it and using all the opioids, and I guess you got opioids in your brain too. I didn't get much into that, but so what does that do? um, he says if you get too much of it, it can trigger you into quitting things as well instead of moving forward. So maybe somehow too much in your system can hijack it as well. I want to keep pursuing it because I find it totally, totally intelligent to learn about the system and all the things in our brain. And I was talking the other day about the different fats and how, it's tied to all of our um, hormones. It's the same thing, I'm sure eventually I'm going to get into that part of it too. But man, it's just super. So it can, so I guess let's see, what was it? The adrenaline, epinephrine it can actually impact depression, happiness, motivation, and drive. So I think he said they were studying 120 human subjects right now. I think they're in the middle of studying it. If this was a modern one, or they already have, it's amazing to me. And his colleague was the one that came up with that. I already talked about it. Came up with not having a fixed mindset, but having a growth mindset. Because she studied, that's what she came up with that, and I find that mindset totally inspiring. It's pretty cool. Okay, let's see. So he's talking how our nervous system is tied to sensation, perceptions, and memories, and that sensations, and there's some that are fixed and that are non-negotiable. And one thing that I thought was pretty interesting is, well, like he's talking about 1 in 80 males are colorblind and can't see the color red, which is, I think I heard that before. I did hear that before. So those are non-negotiable. Those are fixed, right? And how different animals actually have different perceptions that we aren't able to use. It's all about the vision. Gosh, it's all tied to that. I've got so much more to learn. I just have to be honest. But this is super exciting work, and I'm going to keep watching it, and so I can tie it into what we've been talking about already. Even the fat that we produce that has everything to do with what we're eating, right? That actually contributes to our hormones, that I'm sure contributes to the brain function and the spinal cord and nervous system, and it's super amazing. Let's see. So there's an internal system and an external system. The internal system is what's inside me, and the external system is outside me. That makes sense. Let's see. Nervous system. So the nervous system organization is designed to learn. It maintains housekeeping and keeps us alive. And it helps us to learn the rules of sensation. So what he's talking about there is, like, for an example, is as a child, as a baby, we start learning all those systems. And that's also when things can influence us in the way of our emotions. And I'm sure it has everything to do with, that's why they say it's so important as an infant how you develop, because all those things you're learning have something to do with your nervous system as well. What he's talking about is we learn the rules of sensation at that age. An example he uses, when your mom or dad comes into the room, and then they exit the room, and then they come in again, and then they exit again. It's a sensation you're learning at that point, that your mom is going to come back into the room. But I mean, think about it. Think about the fact, and I'll give you an example that I remember as a really young child, that, and when I was talking about emotions, I was talking about how, for me anyway, my emotions were usually, my memories were usually tied to some emotion from my childhood. That's when I had to do my series on going back and what I would tell my childhood self. I had to write down what memories, how far back can I remember? How far back exactly do I remember? And everything I did remember as far back was tied to some kind of dramatic event in my life where, I don't know, I was hurt or I was sick, or they were pretty, and I had a lot of them at a young age. I don't know why. I was just like, maybe I was too gung-ho or something. But one of them I remember, and this is the sensations we're learning, the emotions that were, all of those things go with brain chemistry, right? So I had gotten blood poison probably when I'm going to say I was probably 6 or 7. And it traveled pretty far up my arm to about here. The way my mom saw it is was in the car, I lifted my arm, she saw a red streak that went all the way up my arm. And they stopped it before it got to my heart, but that's not good. So when they found it, it was already pretty far along. And so I had to go into the hospital. And I remember for, I think it was a whole week, they had to come in every hour and put hot packs on my arm and give me medicine. And, I was really super sick by that time. I had a high fever and I was very sick. And, but the one thing I remember most about, like I remember it very plainly, but one of the things that I remember that was very traumatic was that, um, we had, so we had, if I was that age, my little brother was probably 2, and I had an older brother and sister, and my dad had to work. I can imagine the financial burden that it probably placed on him because my mom, stayed at home with us. We had 4 kids, and my dad was working. So, long story short, they had to leave me. I guess my mom went home. I don't remember. I just remember it being night. I was there by myself. I was really super sick. And they had to go home and they left me there. And I remember being hysterically upset. And a lady in the bed was there with her daughter in the bed next to me, came over and consoled me. But I remember that horrible feeling of being left alone at that point, and it was scary. And I understand. I'm not trying to say anything except that um, that's when our sensations are being developed. At a younger age. Now he's talking about babies, so I don't know why. I don't know why I said that, but oh gosh. Okay, so Um, that's when we went into the growth mindset. Um, and that's what deriving dopamine from the effort process. So the growth mindset is, the kids that actually enjoy doing the math or puzzle problems just for the enjoyment of the challenge of doing it, not from the overall reward of finishing it or figuring out the math problems. That's the growth mindset. And that's because they have learned to channel the dopamine and give themselves rewards for the progress or the milestone. And he was talking about how Goggins somehow does the same thing. That's why he's always a high performer in everything. You hear Goggins a lot nowadays. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so the dopamine is an internal reward system that kicks, it's one of the chemicals in your brain that comes in, that kicks in to reward you. Self-talk, um, effort deposits, when you're doing a real thing. The brain and the nervous system is constantly sending signals for rewards, and that's one thing that I think is real important in moving forward, is learning to get that dopamine kicking on all the way through the process, not just at the end. I mean, I think back when I was like, I just something that came to me when I was listening to this today, because I used to be, like I think I talked about before, I was pretty into sort of an anorexic thing back in my early 30s, where I was starving myself. Um, and I think I always saw myself at this certain weight, even though I looked really good, but I didn't see myself that way. So I'm just gonna say I wanted to be, 119, and I was like 35. And so I had this goal of, well, I just have to lose this much weight, and then I'm going to be, and then that's when I can reward myself by saying you did it. That's when my dopamine would kick in, right? And so I actually got in this contest where I lost 20 pounds. I think it was 19 pounds at that time. I took second place, but I reached 119. And so I rewarded myself at that place. Like that was the end goal. But I also recall it not being satisfying. So although I reached the goal that I thought I wanted to do, I was really unsatisfied because I think it was more about I wanted my husband to, I think I was trying to get him to be happy with me, but it was really about me being happy with me. So even though I got to that goal and I was rewarded in ways, I wasn't satisfied. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So I had to reprogram the way I looked at things like that. Instead of having that final thing being the reward, I did start learning how to reward myself with other things along the way. So, gosh, that's so freaking intelligent. Okay, so last but not least, I just some of the words, and I didn't even get to finish it today, but the dopamine should be tied to the effort, is what he says, not the reward, and learn to attach it to the effort. So, gosh, it's so intelligent. I just love it. Love what I'm learning right now. I'm going to keep watching it, so maybe I'll learn some more tomorrow and I'll take better notes. But I'm going to be tired tomorrow night because I've been, when I only slept into 6 a.m., but that's when you get up earlier, that's different, when I get up at 3:30 in the morning, I'm going to be tired. But I'll do the best I can. And tomorrow my cabinets are coming in. Oh my word, am I excited. So, um, I've got an exciting couple weeks coming up, but I'll be done with my videos in 2 more days. What should I do on the 100th one? What should I do? So look, this is another thing. I did 100 videos, but you know what? There were certain ones along the way that I really, really, really liked. Like I love the Christmas one, and I feel like I sort of rewarded myself during certain ones, or like I would make certain progress. And so I think like my dopamine was kicking in during that. And even just my first couple, just getting on here and talking, that was a reward, you know? Um, so my 100th one, I don't know what to do it on. If you got any ideas, let me know. Um, I'll keep this is what I'm studying right now is amazing. Now I want to be a neurologist, neuroscientist, I think. Actually, I love the study, the psychology behind it all, the group behavior and all of those things. I love all of that. But no, I'm not taking any more school. No more school. I'm loving my YouTube podcasts I'm watching, and that's plenty for me. So, Irene, you're so funny. We think so much alike. It's just so funny. I know you know it's because it's my new boyfriend. So I wonder how tall he is. Definitely looks like he's in good shape. He does work out. I think I heard him say he swims. That's pretty cool. Anyway, um, so it's my son's birthday. Happy birthday, Nicholas. I did call him today. I tried to have him on Valentine's Day, but it was just 3 hours later. So today our message is come to me with all your weaknesses, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And I have to wonder too, like your spirituality. I'm pretty sure it all ties into it, though, the chemistries. I think it all can change the dopamine in your brain because think about it. Um, when he talks about, um, Andrew talks about your peripheral vision, when you look out at a plane, look out in the panoramic view, how that automatically puts you in a restful place, right? So it automatically takes the stress away from your life. So if that's the case, so when you're doing meditation, I bet it has something to do with it. Meditation, you're laying completely still, and I wonder if you actually aren't seeing something. Just trying to remember like the meditations I've done. I wonder if that doesn't also do something